So I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil, and that was where just my imagination started blossoming. And also, I've been playing music since I was 5 years old. I was classically trained in piano, so music and drawing were a big part of my life growing up, and that's where I was able to just express whatever ideas I had. Again, I never thought I would do anything with it. It was just my escape from the world, making illustrations, drawing my favorite characters from either comic books or animated films. And film scores were a huge influence on me. So before I started playing classical piano, as in while I was learning it, what I would do on the side was just try to figure out how these film scores were written, and that's my earliest memory of anything creative. My family has been a huge influence on me. Everybody is extremely creative and into the arts. My grandmother was Eastern classical musician. She would hold a lot of what we say in Urdu mehfils, which is large gatherings of people to come in and share their work. So a lot of singing and reading poetry. So that is something that played a huge influenced me a lot while I was a kid, just watching all these people come together and express themselves. My grandmother's brother was a very famous Pakistani artist, and he was a stage actor, Zia Mohyuddin. He acted in the West End when he was younger, and acted in a lot of movies and would read a lot of Urdu poetry on stage. And my father was an actor, my mother and her sister both artists, and a lot of my cousins and people who I grew up watching were either musicians or artists. So I was just one of them in the family, and every time I would do something and just go show someone, they'd be like, "Oh, it's good, but it's not as good as." So I remember that motivated me a lot as a kid. I never really thought about doing something with all of the things I was interested in as a kid. It just happened. I've often told people that when I'm not making something, it feels like, and excuse the example I'm giving, but it feels like you're constipated, where it's just not coming out, and you have to get it out there somehow. So that's been my primary motivation whenever I've made anything. If I have an idea, I have to get it out of my head. If it's a piece of music or now a feature film that we've made. So it's been an incredible journey, but I wouldn't say that I ever planned for these things to happen. I guess things just fell into place. I was born in the 90s, but I grew up primarily in the 2000s. We had access to a lot of films and TV shows and music and all those things. So I would say that my influences came from everything I was able to consume. My biggest influence came from Japanese animation. I grew up watching that, and it just was mesmerizing. Specifically the films of Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. And at the time when I was a child, I didn't even know that there were Studio Ghibli films that I was watching. As I started getting older, I became aware of the directors at Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, and the remarkable body of work that they had produced, and then began following their careers. And Hayao Miyazaki is a much more prolific filmmaker than Isao Takahata, even though Takahata's films are absolutely phenomenal. Miyazaki's just been producing film after film, so I became very familiar with his work, and it's just magical. When I make work, I am primarily focusing on what I enjoy, and I'm a consumer of this amazing body of work that comes out of Japan and America and even India with the remarkable Bollywood films. So I would say that because the films that I enjoy, if I can evoke a similar feeling from myself when I'm making something, then I know people will enjoy it as well. And of course, I respect the audience, because the audience needs to enjoy the work you're making. It shouldn't be so self-indulgent that you're making it exclusively for yourself. Even though, like, I've read a lot of artists tend to follow that they're making it just for themselves, I tend to try to take a more holistic approach, that I want people to enjoy it as well, and also for myself to get enjoyment out of it. TED changed my life, and it's as simple as that. I had recorded a piece of music called Firefly, which is a percussive guitar piece, and I had put it up on YouTube, and this was when I was about 19 or 20 years old. That went semi-viral. Like, it didn't go like completely viral with millions of views, but it has like 500,000-600,000 views. And I guess the right people saw it, because a few weeks after I uploaded it, the TED Fellows team reached out to me and said, you should apply for the TED Fellows program. So I looked it up, and it was this remarkable group of people, and I aspired to be part of that group. So I put in the application, did the interviews, and at the time I think I was the youngest TED Fellow ever selected. And I got to speak on the fellow stage and perform on the main stage. And that was a surreal experience, because I was playing my music for some of the greatest minds in the world in that room. And that allowed me to just broaden my horizons, so to speak. And I was selected to be a TED Senior Fellow in 2014. And I've been part of the Fellows program ever since, and I'm a huge advocate for it. I think that the people they find inspire me every day, and I will always be grateful. I was primarily there as a musician in the beginning, and it allowed me to pivot to animation, because the whole reason I wasn't doing animation in Pakistan is because I thought it would be too difficult. And I was always waiting for somebody to start an animation studio in Pakistan and that I would join. I wanted to work in Japan initially, but then I realized it would be way too difficult to actually make my own film there. I'd have to work through the industry first, and then might not even get an opportunity to make my film. But when I saw, and I remember this so vividly, Sarah Parkak, one of the TED Fellows, was talking about her space archaeology program. And I was thinking that, well, she's thinking about space. I'm on Earth, just in Pakistan. Surely if she can do that, I can make animation in Pakistan. And that's where just everything started snowballing. And that's why I say I'm so grateful to the Fellows program, because it opened up my mind and allowed me to do what I actually wanted to do. So I'll always be grateful for that. I think now, this year when I was at TED, people are seeing, because I said this in 2014 and it's 2024 now, so I've been on this journey for 10 years. I think now they've realized what I was talking about. And yeah, the return to TED this year was very gratifying for me, because I got to share the 10-year journey that I was on making this film called The Glass Worker. So the film is called The Glass Worker. It's a coming-of-age story. The film is about two children from separate walks of life. One is an apprentice glassblower learning from his father in their artisan glass shop, and the other is a gifted violinist struggling to find her own unique voice on the instrument. And the film follows both characters through their formative years as the growing threat of war strains their relationship. But the premise of the film is it's an anti-war film. I believe that war is not the answer to anything, and ultimately it's the people caught in the conflict that suffer, regardless of whoever the victor is. And I tried to showcase that in the film. And it's about art, it's about craftsmanship, it's about my experiences being both an artist, animator, and also a musician and composer. I co-composed the film, so the conversation that happens between the two characters is like a internal dialogue I've had with myself so many times. And just growing up playing classical music, I always learned other people's compositions, and that's the case with Western classical music. It's very repertoire heavy. You learn a body of work and by all these different composers, and then it's your rendition of it that makes it unique, which is amazing, and it's a whole other world. I wanted to write my own compositions, so I think that's where it kind of hit me that I'm learning other people's music. I want to write my own music. And that is something that the characters tackle as well in the film. But that's kind of I guess the genesis of the project. Making one film is a miracle, and making an animated film, a hand-drawn animated film in Pakistan is a huge miracle. So if I am ever blessed with the opportunity to make another film, I would seize it immediately. It was so difficult to make this film, and I'm so tired from the entire process that when I keep thinking about the next piece, my mind says no, but my heart says yes. I've been to so many film festivals throughout the course of making this film and also when we finished the film. And yesterday was different. And the reason I'm saying that is I spent so long making this film in isolation. Yes, we had our team in Pakistan and internationally, but I didn't feel like there was a community of people who've had similar experiences in their filmmaking journey. And yesterday it was just so remarkable to be just one of all of these remarkable filmmakers and hearing their stories and their struggles and actually relating to everybody. And the reason I'm saying that is when we were at Annecy, which again is one of the biggest animation festivals in the world. The first question we got asked when we did the work in progress for our film in 2022 was, so how much government funding did you get? And we kind of started laughing when we heard that, because there is no government funding in a country like Pakistan. You have to kind of fend for yourself. And just all these filmmakers who also have had similar experiences making films in a country like Pakistan and also just the subcontinent in general. The lack of infrastructure in Pakistan was something that I had an interesting conversation about with so many people. And just, again, seeing this sense of community and all of the remarkable work being done by South Asians in this industry, just was very proud and grateful to be there. There were moments where I felt like I've bitten off more than I can chew, but giving up was never an option. I had to get this film done. And I said this at Annecy as well 3 years ago. I said that I'm ready to go to the ends of the earth to get this done. And I feel like I've done that, and there's still a long journey ahead. I'm the kind of person who always says thank you, because I'm not used to people doing things for me, and I prefer to do things on my own. But just seeing the amount of support that my family has given me throughout the course of just making this film, I'm very, very grateful. I tend to not think about legacy, and the reason being is all I want to do is make good work. That's my motivation. That's what excites me. I want to wake up knowing that whenever I make something, I'm giving it my all and making what is the best of my ability. And if I do my job right, then people will decide what my legacy is and will be. And I hope that it's kind.